Good morning, YouTube family. Good afternoon and good evening, wherever you might be. I hope you're having a good day today. I'm going to straighten this camera out. So, welcome to Happy Crappy Hour on Escape from Crazytown. Hey, I want to start this off for the first time in a long time, asking if you would go ahead and subscribe and comment and like the video. That really helps to get the video out there. And also, if you want to share the video, that's great too. Or recommend this channel to other people. I would appreciate that. That's the only way I get reimbursed for anything that I'm doing right here. So anyway, you guys, welcome. And I want to talk to you today about something that um, I came across recently, and it was really quite eye-opening. I really appreciated this answer that I got to this question we're dealing with today, and that is, are narcissists fighting demons within? Now, I've had, spiritual people or religious people say that, if a person has bad characters, generally because they're fighting some kind of demon, right? I know some people might feel like that's kind of weird, especially if you don't prescribe to any religions or anything like that. But anyway, sometimes people might think it's also mental trauma, right? Past trauma, that's their demon. So it doesn't necessarily have to be spiritual. But people kind of give the narcissist some leeway and give them an excuse for why they behave the way they do. And then on top of that, they think, well, then we should help them fight these demons, right, that are inside of them or past trauma and help them heal. So this is why I want to talk about this topic today, because that can be kind of misleading and it could give you a false hope, but also it could make you more manipulated by the narcissist, because they will play up the victim role, and you think, well, it's all this trauma from their past that's causing them to be so hard-hearted and so abusive and so self-centered. And yeah, some of us can be self-centered, some of us can be rude, bordering on abusive. That doesn't make you a narcissist, but there is a difference between people who are narcissists and have the NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, even though there is a spectrum, and they don't necessarily have to have all the traits of the NPD in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental uh, Health. But what you want to do is figure out what can you do to help a narcissist, or can you help a narcissist, because that can trap you inside of their relationship and inside of their manipulation. All right. So good morning, John Bailey. Good to see you here. Says, I can't believe she is still sending me stuff. Wow, John. Yeah. You know, if you guys, I know your story, right? I mean, you've been with me for a while, so to catch some people up, John's had his ex-narc. She's married to someone else now, right? And she lives in a different city or town or state, and yet she's still contacting him. That kind of gives you an idea that she's not happy where she is, right? And so she's trying to monkey branch. She's trying to see if he's a place that she can come back to. She wants moral support from him and to use him, but then when it pleases her, she just goes back to the other guy. So John, stay strong, stay no contact. I'm with you, okay? Yeah. So you guys, we are doing Happy Crappy Hour, and let me explain that a little bit. John says exactly. Yeah. So I appreciate my viewers who have been with me all these years. I love that, to see how you are progressing. I love that you guys are creating this community where you also share your wisdom and your experience with others who are newly going through this, going through the eye-opening stage, right? Because when we get a new viewer on here who comes on and says, what's going on? I just got discarded and my world is upside down. It's the older viewers, or the viewers who've been here the longest, who are so valuable, because you guys help that person to see that there is hope at the end of the tunnel, and that others have been through this struggle and may still be going through it. So we're all here to help each other. So thank you guys. Let's talk about happies and crappies. Oh, my umbrella keeps spinning. But so happy crappy hour is what did we do this week that was bad, right? Crappy, that we want to learn from and we don't want to repeat. And what happened this week that was good, our happies. And we want to repeat those. We want to stay healthy and do and implement the healthy, happy, good things, right? That lead us into a positive future. So, Diane, good to see you. I remember seeing you a while ago. So nice to see you. Says, if this is about me and John, he never had a home for me to live in. So you just keep talking to John. Dara. I don't know. Oh, I don't know who Dara is, but you are wrong, Dara. I don't know who Dara is. Oh, okay, you guys. Let's not go into this here. Ah, okay. Well, Diane, this is my suggestion. Maybe, if you feel that John is the narcissist, then I would suggest to you to go no contact. So, and it's possible that sometimes two people are very toxic for each other, and maybe neither are narcissists. But if you're that toxic for each other, then I would say just go no contact. And then start working on the good things in your life and start healing, start working on what you can do to get stronger and build a better future for yourself. So blessings to you guys, okay? Dana says, good morning, beautiful people. Well, good morning, Dana. And Jihad, good morning to you. Oh my gosh. Wow, okay. John, at first I was like, wow, how is this happy? John says, my happy is I have Crohn's disease and a secondary condition too, that is gum disease. So I lost all my teeth on the 7th of July. I'm getting implants. So the happy is that he's getting implants. So I'm very glad for you, John. So you guys, let's go into, oh yeah, I forgot, our happies and crappies. So my crappy this week, let me see if I had a crappy. I mean, kind of, because there's a lot of hatred and violence going on right now and uncertainty in this world. And I'm not going to pick sides and we're not going to get into the politics of all of that. But the wisdom I want to impart with you guys is check yourself. Check yourself if you are getting riled up and starting to hate, and especially if you're hating to the point of violence, right? And to the point of destruction. And I'm not meaning destruction of property, but destructive towards other people, destructive towards yourself, destructive towards your family. You're breaking up friendships, stuff like this. If your friends or family don't agree with you, just stay off that topic. Like that is not, if you want to save your relationship, stay off of it. Because right now, I don't know that we're getting a whole lot of truth. So if you're going to break up relationships based on possibly misinformation, that is a tragedy. You don't want to break up your long-term relationships based on possibly misinformation that each side is getting. That's the thing. Right now you need to pull back into and how do I say this? You want to pull back into sanity, all right? Don't let your emotions take you over. And there are emotions on all sides right now, and that can take you into a very destructive situation, because when people, just like when two narcissists get together, what controls them is emotions, right? Neither one of them is going to be sane. Neither one of them is going to use facts, or they'll use some facts to persuade or fight the other, but neither will give up any ground because their emotions are so high and they need to win, right? They're both convinced that they are absolutely 100% right. So don't get caught up into that, okay? Don't give into it. So that's my crappy, right? That right now we have to deal with a lot of turmoil, a lot of emotional imbalance out there, a lot of violent, angry feelings out there. So in the midst of that, get yourself centered. Focus on something positive. And here's my happy. My happy is that I started focusing on something positive. And for me, it's getting into the Bible and also hanging out with some friends. So I've had such beautiful times with friends. This past weekend, I had just a great time getting to know another friend. So so much better. We've known each other for a couple of years, or maybe known of each other and kind of crossed paths a few times because of mutual friends. And this past weekend, we had just such an awesome connection time. So for me, it pulls you out of that isolation, hopelessness that you feel from what's going on around the world. When you connect with someone who's like-minded, and not just like-minded politically, we didn't talk politics at all, by the way. We talked about the matters of the heart and what was valuable to us, and also our faith, which was so great. I had such a wonderful time of connection and such encouragement. Yeah, and I got to see her again yesterday. It was wonderful. And it's like, seeing a long lost friend. And anyway, it's so great when you connect with people and stay positive. And she is such a positive person, which I love. She's just so bubbly and happy, and but she's also very real. So that is hilarious to me. I love it. I love real people. I love people who, when they're angry, yes, they're angry, but they don't go crazy, berserk, violent, nasty, angry like narcissists do. And if they do, they learn, they're working on themselves to bring that down until it is manageable and they can have a healthy relationship. So I love people who are real, but not abusive, right? So she and I have this in common, and we crack each other up, let me tell you. So anyway, that's my happy. The crappy, what what I'm going to learn from that is not to pay attention too much to what's going on. Because when I get pulled into these other videos that's telling me what's going on out there, it's okay to kind of get the gist of what's going on, but unplug. Don't fall into this albatross of media where you're getting pulled left and right and up and down, and all these emotions are all over the place. It's really easy to get yourself into the same mental state that these unstable people, I want to say they're unstable because they are pulled completely in by their emotions. And it's not that it's bad to have an emotion, but it's bad when that emotion causes you to do damaging, destructive, horrible, violent things towards others. Okay? The enemy you think that you're fighting might be an innocent person who is not really the enemy. Like, say, for instance, your family, right? It might be your parents, it might be your sisters, sibling, whatever. It could be your best friend, and you're thinking they're the enemy. But no, they're not. It's just that right now, the media, the hype that's going on out there is causing you to feel so much anguish, so much, turmoil, because you're thinking this is evil versus good, or good versus evil, and you're going to pick a side. And what I'm saying is that out there, we may not be getting the full picture. Okay? Anyway, you guys, let's not go too far into that. Let's talk about what we can do to stay positive, to stay sane, right? And to redirect our life so that things are good again. So you guys, here we go. I want to see what some of the comments are, because I think I'm missing some. Hold on, folks. Oh, Obi-Wan, good to see you. Glad that you're here. I'm not quite sure where oh, there we are. Okay, good morning. So let's dive into, do narcissists have demons that they are fighting with? That is a question that I came across in Quora, right? So the person who responded to this, I thought, did a really excellent job. I don't agree 100% with what she wrote, but I think what she wrote is rather interesting and thought-provoking. So I'm going to read to you the answer. Now, know that this is not my answer, but I do agree with a lot of this. So the answer is, are narcissists fighting with demons within? This person says no. Now, I do think that there are things the narcissist fights with, like their self-esteem and they do have also past trauma and, when people, abandonment, stuff like that, right? It really affects them differently than it affects us, because they perceive everything, even correction, right? Even disagreement, as an attack. So they, if you want to say they're fighting a demon inside, it's that insecurity, that self-righteousness, those character flaws of theirs, or possibly just very damaged areas in their life they never dealt with. But that's just a wounded person. Narcissists have more than just wounds. They, I believe, have a certain mental, I don't know, block, maybe you want to say. And this is her answer. This is what this woman, her title is Spiritual Sous Chef, which is hilarious. This is great. And this is, I found this on Quora, Quora, which people get on and they write a bunch of questions. And it seems to me a lot of journalists or journalism majors or English majors get on here. So their answers are spectacular. They're very long. They're in depth. It's great. Okay, so the answer to our narcissists fighting demons within, the answer is no. Narcissists have a mental disorder. Their brains are damaged. I'm reading to you guys, so I just want to let you know that. They are not capable of fully being human with the range of emotions that most normal humans have. They are stuck in a stage of emotional development, somewhere between 2 and 6 years old. And all of their emotions are that of a 2 to 6-year-old child. They are easily frustrated, easily bored, selfish, self-centered, and lacking in compassion or empathy because at that stage of development, most children do not understand that their adult caregivers are anything other than a source of food, protection, emotional comfort, etc. They do not understand that the adult humans around them are people with needs of their own. That's just the first paragraph, and I do want to address that because I think that's so true. I think that narcissists are stuck. That's their mental block. Like they did not progress emotionally beyond the 2 to 6-year-old stage. And not to say that all 2 and 6-year-olds are this self-centered. Some of them are super sweet, very caring, very giving little kids. But narcissists are stuck in that stage where, in development, where children do not understand that people outside of them have needs. People outside of them are not an extension of them. And their reality is simply just where they are. They can't see beyond themselves. So I think that is a really good example or description of what narcissists really have. Okay, let's continue on. As the narcissist matures intellectually, he or she will learn ways to fake adulting and mimic the people around them to seem as though they are functional humans, but they are not. Some narcissists may learn through film, literature, music, or observing other humans that an act of being complex and having inner demons makes other people sympathetic, makes other people give them physical gifts, emotional support, or other forms of validation. They will also observe that people who are sick or fighting demons or having some kind of dark and mysterious past trauma are people who are allowed to lash out, behave abusively, brood, break things, detach emotionally, etc. And the people around them allow the behavior and make excuses for it. He had a bad childhood. Her husband used to beat her. Whatever. So they make that act part of their story so that they too will be allowed to treat people badly and behave badly and not be held to account because of all of their past trauma and personal demons. There's more. So I want to talk about this part. Exactly. Narcissists will play the victim. They will act out as if, it's their past trauma, so you have to understand. Now, if you see progress in them, that's one thing. If you see them reaching and seeking advice and counseling and help in some way, right? Getting a group of mentors or a group of people who will speak life into them, who have been responsible and they have their life together. Now, if the narcissist or person who's toxic and has past trauma is seeking out people who can help them, that's different. Narcissists will look like they're seeking, and yet they just don't change. They just fall back to, this is the way I am, and this is how you have to accept me, if you love me. If you love me, you'll love all of me. And that, I'm sorry, is baloney. We've all actually learned that in the last, I guess, decade, maybe more than a decade. But there's been this shift of consciousness, if you will, or a shift in society and culture where uh, people have gotten away from blaming to explaining, right? Excusing and explaining. So we've been conditioned to excuse really horrible behavior and not blame the abuser. And I want to say, listen, we need to hold people who are abusive accountable to their behavior. We don't have to hate them and we don't have to bully them. Absolutely not. We don't have to be mean to them, but we do need to say, this stops here. You do not get to continue bullying me or hurting me or abusing me just because you've had things happen to you. Now you're causing it to happen to me because you're, so that's where we got to stop them. We have to hold them accountable. But narcissists will say, well, it's my demons, they control me, or my past trauma, and therefore I can't stop myself. It's because somebody else did this to me. Well, guess what? If they are doing it to you, does that mean it's okay now for you to pass this on to somebody else? No, absolutely not. So you have to hold them to that same reasoning, that same reality that you have to live in, where it's not okay for you to abuse someone. It's not okay for you to hurt someone else and pass on whatever trauma that was done onto you. Okay? It has to stop. And that's where the sanity is. We have to stop the insanity. All right, you guys. There's a little bit more, so I want to read this part. She says, rest assured that you cannot love and care for a person like this enough. Your love and caring will not heal them. Giving to people who behave like this and treat you badly will only drain you, and it will not fill them up. You will be drained and discarded, and they will use your name as the name of the villain in the story they tell to the next person who wants to help and heal them with their love and caring. In short, don't think of it as the narcissist has demons. Think of it as the narcissist is a demon. That was pretty powerful, I thought, when I was reading that. I don't agree that narcissists are a demon, but you have to see it this way. They are the perpetuator of their own bad behavior. Okay? Nothing else is controlling them. They're choosing. All right, you guys? And they're also choosing not to change. They don't want to change. They don't see the point of changing. They think that they are right. And they think they are entitled because of the trauma that was caused them. So now they are owed something by the rest of society. So be careful of people who think this way, because you cannot fill them up. Nothing will ever be enough for them. You can lay down your life for them, give them all that you earn, give them your paycheck, and that will still not be enough for them. I have witnessed this with narcissists in my life. It doesn't matter to them because they do not see people as individuals who have their own needs. Remember that at the beginning of this whole thing, where they're stuck mentally somewhere between 2 and a 6-year-old child because they have not grown beyond understanding that there is a whole world outside of them with needs and cares and experiences and traumas outside of their own. They think that their trauma is the most horrific that, compared to everybody else's, right? And therefore they are owed whatever they can get from those who come across their path. And they will manipulate other people using those who've helped them in the past, just like you, right? And I agree with this person that they will use your name as the person who exacted trauma and abuse onto them, or neglect or abandonment, right? They will use your name. And as we all know, when we have been with these narcissists, they do that. They talk about their ex and how horribly their ex has treated them. And yes, I'm not saying that's not, in all cases, that's not true. A lot of times it is, because that's why you leave, right? But it's like one after another, after another, after another. It's like nobody has stuck around with them. So even the people that are like, oh, but this person was good to me and did this little bit to me, for me, or two, or whatever they want to say, but then that person turned around and stabbed me in the back, and you notice like they don't really have any good people in their life that's been around for a very long time. Or they have people who are very peripheral in their life. They're not living close by, they're not interacting daily, they're just far enough that the narcissist can kind of be an acquaintance and keep that relationship up. So you guys, I thought that this was a really good topic to consider, because a lot of times we give excuses to an abusive person because we think, oh, they had such a hard childhood, or their ex treated them so badly. But then you notice that they are treating you the exact same way they're saying that their ex treated them. And if you should point that out to them and say, whoa, 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 now you're doing to me what caused you trauma. Oh, that's when they unleash onto you. Because how dare you have any other purpose in this life than to be their sounding board, their support, their 100% loyal supply. How dare you say that anything that the narcissist does affects you negatively? Because they can't possibly be the villain in their story. They can't possibly be the person causing the trauma. They can't possibly be the person who's responsible for anybody else, because everybody else is responsible for their happiness. You see what I'm saying? And this is why the author of this answer that I just read to you at the end, I think is so, so profound. That she said, don't think of it as the narcissist has demons, think of it as the narcissist is a demon. And that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with someone who is not just plagued with demons or plagued with past trauma, because they will not let go of it. And the reason they don't let go of it is because they are the cause of the trauma. And they continue to perpetuate trauma onto others. And they don't see that. They don't see it at all. If you recount with them what happened, a week ago, a month ago, whatever, a year ago, or even just yesterday, their version is going to be so different from reality. Your mind will be blown. So you guys, I know you guys have seen this. I know you guys have experienced this. So, oh my gosh, those who land on this channel generally have been through this type of trauma with a narcissist. And then you feel like your world is upside down or inside out, or right is wrong and wrong is right, because the narcissist is this demon that you're trying to rationalize as a person, they are a person, okay, physically I get it, but you're trying to rationalize their irrational behavior. You're trying to make sense of it. You're trying to see how can their wrong be evil, right? I mean, maybe you don't believe in evil, and there are people out there who don't. They don't believe that there can be people who can be this wicked. Really, it just is. You just can't imagine that somebody could be that self-centered, that they would be willing to demolish everything in their path, including people they supposedly love, right? Or people who gave them everything, people who've been there and loyal to them for years or decades. And you're like, no, it was just a slip up. But the slip ups become pretty much the norm. It's not a slip up anymore. This is just how they are 90% of the time, with the occasional soft, vulnerable, connecting side. And you're like, well, I see the soft, connecting, vulnerable side of them, so that's their human side. It's like, no, actually, that's them showing you their vulnerability, because everything, even demons, have vulnerabilities, by the way. So don't think that demons don't have vulnerabilities. So they show it because they can't. They're not strong. These people, they're not strong. They're not 100%. And anything wicked does not stand for long. It just doesn't. You're going to see behind the curtain. You're going to see what's causing them pain. And at that moment, you think that you're connecting with them. No, you're not. You're not connecting with them. They just happen to be weak at that moment. And then they will barricade back up and then come for the attack. So be very careful around people like this. Here we go, you guys. Let's look at some of the comments that you have. I'm going to have to go back a little bit and see. Okay. Yes, yes, Obi, I love this. Obi says, staying positive by thinking of things that make you laugh. And by the way, you know, I always promote Dry Bar Comedy. They're almost at 1 million subscribers. It's awesome. I think they've got 990 something thousand subscribers. So I think they have just exploded in the last 3 years. They are so needed. Let me see here. So in the comments later on when I come off, I'll put in a link to a routine that I saw yesterday that was just hilarious. I was dying. So I showed it to my husband, and we were like ready to pass out. We were so exhausted and tired from the day, and even at that point, we just burst out laughing watching this guy's comedy. It's a short clip of his full I don't know what they call it, stint, I guess, but yeah, or full routine. It's hilarious. I will post it for you at the end of Happy Crappy Hour because I want to share laughter with you. You guys, laughter is healing. And sometimes it starts off as a nervous laugh. Sometimes it's like, I don't know what's going on, but it makes me feel weird and I know it's not real, you know. So instead of being afraid, laugh at it. You know, the heck with this. Just laugh at this. This is ridiculous. This is insanity. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Laugh instead. There are times that narcissists are so abusive and they are frightening. Just get the heck out of there. Get away. Don't stick around for that. Absolutely not. Get the heck out of there. But then as you're healing, don't be afraid of them. Don't be afraid that you're going to be traumatized for the rest of your life. Don't be afraid that you're not going to be able to get back on your feet. Don't be afraid. Don't embody that fear that the narcissist tried to put on you. Instead, laugh, right? Find laughter. And the thing that I found is laughter is powerful. Laughter is so powerful, you guys, in everything, and healing. It's just, it brings life into your spirit. It brings life into your physical body. You know, when your body is laughing, guess what? You're producing really good positive endorphins that then go to work inside of your body and starts to heal it physically. I mean, there have been studies out there since, oh my gosh, I don't remember. I remember reading things that were written back in the 90s, maybe, articles in scientific magazines and such that do laugh therapy, right? Because your body goes through a transformation, not just emotionally, not just spiritually, but actually physically, you guys. So anyway, let's share some jokes. Let's share some comedy. I would love to see that in the comments. If you have links to comedy routines and things like that, would love to see it. Please try to keep it not vulgar. Okay, I'm not big on vulgar comedy, although sometimes I do watch it and it is hilarious. Anyway, it's okay, I guess, if you post it on the comments, but a link to it. But Dry Bar Comedy does not do anything vulgar. And some of the comedians, actually, their routines normally are vulgar, but then for Dry Bar, they take out the cursing, and it's still just rolling on the floor, hilarious. All right, you guys, let's see. Tina, good to see you. Yeah. Obi says, I was watching Johnny Bravo, and he bumped into a narc Amazon island. And one Amazon lady was literally burying Johnny in the ground with insults, and Johnny was trying harder to get her to be nicer. They're just miserable people, and misery loves comfort. Yeah. Yep. Obi says this often, and it's true. Same story, different narc. Obi says, before my narc, I never knew someone was this heartless and made me think of all things that ever happened to me, and it was karma. Yeah, you know, yeah, you just never know that anybody could be this heartless because you just want to believe that everybody at their core is a good person, right? You want to believe that. But let me tell you, narcissists at their core are demonic. They just are. They're just very, so abusive, so, I mean, people want to believe that they're traumatized. Oh no, they're the trauma. They're the trauma that's in your life, that's going to be exacted into your life. So be careful. Dana says, Hoover attempt. He calls and orders his medications. Last Thursday, he sent me a text. I didn't open it. Checked my mail. His meds were delivered here. Wow. Yeah, that does seem like he's trying to get in contact, back in contact with you, and have a reason to get in contact with you. So what you write on there, instead of opening it, you just write, oh, I forget, what did they say? Not at this address or something like that? Yeah, so just write not at this address and send it back. So, or call the post office and ask them what it is you're supposed to write on there. Something like that. I have not used snail mail in I don't know how long. So I don't know. Oh, so, yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, I think it's just not at this address and you underline it like in red marker or something. Okay? Yeah. So anytime the narcissist tries to make contact with you, they'll accidentally bump into you, but they accidentally send things to your house. It's their effort to try to get back in contact with you and possibly hoover and bring back or bring you back into their life where they can start manipulating you again and get supply from you. Okay, I do want to cover one other part of this question because some people will call and let me see. Okay, this is something I wrote last week, so I'm not sure. I'm just going to read it to you guys. I haven't read it today, so hopefully this still makes sense. My response to that person answering, do narcissists have demons? My response is this. Some think it's the Jezebel spirit that is in them, but in the narcissist. But that always seemed wrong to me. I think it is incredibly harsh to say that they are the demon, but this is probably the most accurate description and explanation of them that I've read. Your description of narcissists explains why therapists think they can cure narcissists. They believe the BS about past trauma. They think that if the past trauma is addressed, then the narcissist can be healed. It's like trying to get a 3-year-old to understand that past trauma causes them to be selfish. Therapists fuel narcissists because they will give the narcissist attention and believe all the narc's BS explanations of their behavior. For example, everyone else is at fault, everyone else hurt them, took advantage of them, left them, gave up on them, cheated on them. You get the picture. Then the therapist spends their whole time helping the narcissist to see how it truly was everyone else's fault. Narcs love therapists that they can manipulate. But there are some therapists who call them on their BS. Those are the best, but I don't think narcs stick around long with those therapists. I think your description is right on target. It's a brain disorder. Or I like to explain to people that it's how their brain is wired. That is my response to this person's answer. So, you guys, when you think of the narcissist that's in your life and you think, oh, but they've had all this trauma and you stuck around for like 3, 4, 5 years because you thought, I can help them heal from this trauma. And you're like, why in the world are they not healing from this trauma? And if they tell you, let me tell you, the biggest clue that it's not going to get any better is when they say, instead of saying, oh my gosh, I have to get help, I have to fix this, I don't want to live this way. They don't say that. What they say instead is, well, this is who I am, take it or leave it. If you love me, you're going to love all of me, including all of this. So if they're saying that instead of, oh my gosh, I don't want to be like this, then run. Run the other way. Well, you guys, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just reading some of the comments here. Okay. Dana says, I immediately prayed because I wanted to throw it away, but marked it returned to sender and finally blocked him. Ah, excellent. Good job, Dana. So Obi says, fall for the Hoover, make... No, no, I don't. Okay, Obi, I don't agree with you. No, that's not good. Although, you know what? We've done this. We have all done this. We've been there. Obi says, fall for the Hoover, make love on a Hoover, and come to your senses the next day and say, nice try, and go back to no contact. No, because you just feel awful about yourself after that, too. So don't fall for the Hoover, obviously, right? And don't do that. But some of us have done this. Some of us have fallen for the Hoover, have gone back, have had amazing sex afterwards, right? Or during. And then you're like, holy cow, what did I get myself back into? Because now you see the narcissist monstrosity come back out again. And all that time they were acting as if they've changed. They didn't change. And you leave. So I get that. Totally get that. But no, don't fall for the Hoover and stay no contact. Okay, Get Busy Leading says, oh wait, Obi says, it's the spirit of stupidity that possesses their bodies. Possibly. Get Busy Living says, having a narc landlord is a nightmare. Yeah. Obi says, narcs are nightmares, period. Yeah, Get Busy Living says, tell me about it, LOL. Aren't they? They're a total disaster, nightmare, train wreck. Oh my gosh, you guys. You know what's so funny? I don't know. It is funny to me, but maybe I'm just hoping these guys wake up. So there are these channels that are about, that help men use women and then get out of there. And the crazy women that they use are hopefully not the kind, caring, loving people who have trauma and may have to work through their trauma. Just like everybody, nobody is perfect. Hopefully, what they seem to be advising each other, which is really pathetic, is to use all these really hot, good-looking, self-centered, narcissistic women and then toss them. And I'm like, you know what? That makes you know better. That makes you know better than the disgusting pig narcissists that are out there. So if you think that doing that is the right thing to do with narcissists, and then, abuse them, use them, and not even narcissists, because some of these women are, they're self-centered, they're narcissistic, they may have trauma, daddy issues and whatnot in their background, and you're going to use that because they're hot, and they're crazy, right? Because the crazy sex apparently is the best sex, these guys say. I'm like, yeah, but then you end up with someone like Jodi Arias, who then murders you. So I'm like, I don't think so. You really want to take your life in your hands like that with a crazy person? No. So don't use people. Don't think that it's okay to do this in order to get just the most amazing, physical fulfillment that you can out of them, because you will regret it. You will regret becoming like that. You will regret lowering your standards. You will regret using and abusing another person, even if they are a jerk. Even though they're trying to manipulate and use you. It's like the best thing to do is you give them your boundaries and you say, no, you don't cross this. I won't deal with this. You are not allowed in, and you go no contact. If you can warn other people about them if they ask, right? And warn your friends not to date them, for crying out loud. And this is not just women, it's guys too, by the way. There are women out there who use men. So be careful. And yeah. So the funny thing to me about these guys is they're talking about wanting to have a family, wanting to have fulfilling relationships. And yet they're teaching each other how to use hot women. And I'm like, oh, because a good woman who would be a great partner is going to want someone like you, right? Like, why would a good woman want a guy who uses women? So no thank you. That's what I think. Same thing with women, by the way, you guys. There are women girlfriends out there talking about using up guys and stuff and tossing them aside, and maybe even using them for their money and trying to get them to buy stuff for them, pay their rent, fix their car, stuff like that, right? And then tossing them. I'm like, what the heck? So you think that a good man is going to want you? Are you out of your mind? Yeah. So here you go. Whatever you practice, That's what you become. So don't practice that, you guys. All right. So here we go. I want to see. Oh, Letty A. Good to see you. Obi says it's not that it's right to do to a narc, but it sure is funny to watch. I know, but yeah, we don't want to become like that. Letta A says, how do you deal with friends and your own family not believing you about the emotional abuse you endured by the narcissist? They don't believe me, and some family members took his side over mine. Yeah. Obi says, there's really nothing you can do. Be patient. In time, they will find out without you having to expose them. If you expose them, you'll look bad. And I do agree with Obi with that. And here's the thing. How do you deal with friends and your own family not believing you? Here's the deal. It's hard to understand. So from your family and friends point of view, it's hard for them to understand that anyone can be this cruel, right? So they want to rationalize it. They want to say, well, it takes two people. There's always two sides of the story. You hear all of that, right? You hear like, well, maybe you misunderstood what they said or what they did. Maybe you're just too critical. And because they know you better, they give him the benefit of the doubt. They know your flaws. So they're not going to, they may not believe you right at first. Whoops, there goes my umbrella. They may, because they don't know him very well and they don't know his flaws, they're not going to be able to see what he could be doing that's wrong. Like maybe his family will be able to see like, oh no, we know his flaws, we know he's at fault, so they probably would take your side over his because they know him so well. Your family and friends do not know him the way you know him, so that's why they can't see it. They don't know. So like Obi was saying, you can oh, I'll tell you something that you can do. You've got to start working on yourself. That's the thing. You start becoming more sane, because the more insane you become over this, the more obsessed you become about them having to believe you, the more you bring it up, the more you can't let go of it, the more insane you're going to look. And the more it's going to look like he's the sane one. So that's what you don't want to do, right? You don't want to obsess over this. It's sad and it's really hurtful and painful and devastating, really, when your family and friends stand up for him. You know what? Let them say, but here's the deal. Tell them that this is off limits discussion now. You don't want to talk about it. So you have to be the one to take this off of the table. You have to take your relationship with him off the table for discussion if you want to have a relationship with your friends and with your family. If they ask what happened, just say, you know, maybe one day I'll tell you about it, but right now I just need to heal. And then start working on healing. Start working on yourself. Get yourself better. Get yourself physically better. Get yourself mentally stronger. Get yourself spiritually connected and better too. What you need to do is what you need to do for yourself. Don't worry too much about trying to convince other people. Don't worry so much about what he's doing and what's going on in his life. This is the time to focus on your life and your future and your healing. So start doing that. And the thing is, as your family sees you improving yourself, improving your life, getting stronger, they're going to start going, huh, you know, things aren't quite adding up about this guy. That, you know, if she is able to move on and get stronger and better, then there must have been a reason that, I don't know. I agree with Obi. I think that in time, he will expose his own shortcomings. He will expose the jerk that he is, or the narcissist if he is. It just will come out. And there will be a string of people behind him who have these stories, and that's where you will be vindicated. That's when karma does its work. And you don't even have to do anything. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to be the one fighting to make sure that everybody sees the truth or knows what he did. And yeah, I would suggest that if you have one, I mean, maybe two, but if you have one person in your life who is there for you and who was close enough, who can understand what you went through, like just spend your time with them. Don't worry so much about trying to convince everybody else. Just, if you need someone to understand what you went through, spend time with them, when you need that. Don't try to get other people to understand what you went through, because you're not going to be able to convince them if they never see that side of him. All right, you guys, let me see here. Oh, yeah. Getting busy living says no contact is a stake in the heart to the narc. Seen a narc friend I went to well, hold on, it skipped on me. Seen a narc friend I went no contact with 5 months ago. He is 40 years old and now he looks 60. Yeah, that's what I would say to you is you gotta go no contact, which is, what I was saying earlier. Don't look at what he's doing. Don't pay attention to what's going on in his life. Stay away from him. Do your own thing. Work on you. So, you guys, I'm going to change my umbrella a little bit now that the sun has moved. Alrighty. Much better. Let me catch up on some of the comments here. Obi-Wan says, I'm a Jedi to narc mind games. Yeah. So, Letty, I'm really sorry you're going through this, and you're probably at a stage right now where it's just very painful and you can't see how you're going to be able to start improving yourself. Don't worry about that so much. Just start trying to breathe. And the beginning of breathing for me is pulling away, and that no contact, it's devastating to you too. I know that. It's not easy to go no contact because you want the connection. You want to go back to what things used to be. You want the good feelings you used to have, right? And the future that you thought you're going to have. So you have to go through this mourning phase, M-O-U-R-N-I-N-G, mourning, not daytime mourning, but the crying over the loss. You have to deal with the loss of the relationship. So do that. And, it's going to be really hard too, but you got to look at the truth. You got to look at the ugly truth of how they really treated you. You got to look at all the things that they did or he did that made you just feel awful. I mean, there are a bunch of things that made you feel great, right? And if you just only focus on that, you're going to be miserable because you're thinking, oh, but there's this wonderful, great guy that I'm missing. But then it's like, but he cheated on you, or he called you, nasty names, or he might have even was physically, bad to you. We don't know, verbally mean to you. He could have treated you with disregard, right? Just didn't care. He was not reliable. He used you for your money. He stayed at your house and trashed it. You have to remember that along with the good that they did, you had to take this horrible, terrible side of them. So focus on the terrible. I mean, it sounds terrible, not good, right? Because you were supposed to think about positive things. But when you are first going through the detachment with the narcissist, you have to look at the bad things, because it's those bad things that pull you back into reality. And so it's the opposite at the very beginning. Don't look at the positive things with the person. You have to look at the bad things in order to detach, in order to convince yourself and your soul and your psyche, your mind, your spirit, to see the truth of who the narcissist really was, and that you got manipulated into thinking that they were wonderful because they did a few or maybe many wonderful things. But if they're such a good person, how can they be so abusive? Oh my gosh, I was talking with my husband last night, and we were talking about I can get all theological on you guys, but I won't. But we were talking about essentially, saying a person who's been in an abusive relationship, in domestic abuse or something, right? And they do end up with PTSD. But here's the deal. That person will say, but he loved me, or she loved me. It's like, but they abused you. So they think, well, the abuse is part of their love. And they get it so twisted in their head that they allow their abuser to continue to hurt them, thinking that this person loves me. Do you see this? So when you first detach from a narcissist, you're going to go through something like that. You're going to think, but they loved me and they did all these wonderful things for me. But what I would say to someone who had gone through domestic abuse is, you got to look at what they didn't do that was good, right? What they did do that was horrible. And that will draw you back to reality of who this person really is. And then when you start to see, like, wow, this person really was monstrous to me, then that illusion of what a wonderful person they are starts to fade. And then you're able to start letting go. You're like, wow, yeah, that illusion of them being great and wonderful and caring and vulnerable, because a lot of covert narcissists are like that as well. You know, overt narcissists, or the why can't I think of, grandiose narcissists, also have covert tendencies. And their covert tendencies are when the occasional times that they act vulnerable. And you think, oh, you see, he's so hard or she's so hard on the outside, but only I have seen the vulnerable side. Only I know this soft side of them. Let me tell you, that side of them, is there a vulnerable side of them? But it is not, how do I put this? It is not the same type of vulnerable side that we see in other people, where it's like they show you the trauma, but they can heal from it. No, narcissists will use past experiences that look like trauma, right? They took it as trauma. They took it as abandonment when their ex had enough of the abuse and left. And they're like, oh, I was abandoned. I didn't do anything wrong, and he abandoned me. It's like, no, you were horrible to this person, you know. But the narcissist will take that and then use that story on you as, I was abandoned by my ex. I did everything right and they abandoned me anyway. So then you think, oh my gosh, you know, this is, they're showing me their vulnerability and how they were hurt by somebody. When actually they were the one doing the hurting, and now they're using the story as if, and they fully believe it, by the way. They'll cry, they'll sob, they'll tell you that, like, you're the best thing that they've ever had come into their life because only you can understand their pain. Oh, they give you all of this crap, by the way. It is a manipulation. And the reason I say that is because afterwards, what do they do? How do they treat you when you take them in? How do they respond to you when you sacrifice so much to try to help them? Do they keep taking? Do they then turn their anger onto you when they're not getting enough, or when you limit what you're going to give them? So be careful with that. I have another story for you guys, which I'm going to give you, but let me see what comments. Well, okay, actually, let me go ahead and give you the story, because sometimes I'll forget the story afterwards. So I was telling a friend of mine about, some people, but they were so nice. We can't understand what happened, and if other people are just onlookers, like Letta's friend here, or Letty's friend, I'm sorry, Letty's family and friends, can't seem to see her side of the story, and they believe, or they are on the side of the narcissist. The reason for that is because they got to like the good side, okay? They saw the good, happy, charming, pleasant, funny, whatever, intelligent side of the narcissist. So they got to know them and like them. So once you do that, it's very hard to make that connection that when this person suddenly becomes a monster. Like, you can't see that in your head because it's just not logical. So you think, oh, say they just suddenly explode. Oh, they just had a bad day. Or you try to explain away their behavior. Like, say, okay, I'm trying to give you an example of a different thing, but I'm going to give you this example, which I had read from a viewer once. She was saying how there was this guy, pretty much a loser guy, okay? He didn't have anything going for him, no job, no money, no place to live. And I think he was couch surfing, right, at his friend from friends. So he meets her, and she's got her own place. She has a little bit of money because she works, right? She pays her bills, and she's good looking, right? So he tries to butter her up. He tells her how attractive she is, how amazing she is, how beautiful her eyes are, and how, he can just tell that she's a kind person and a compassionate soul and all this crap, okay? I'm sorry. It's great to hear stuff like that from people about you, but from a narcissist, it is just crap. It's just words. So he says all this to her, and he asks her if he can stay at her place for a few nights because, he's been at his friends for a while and he just wants to give his friends a break, or, could she just let him stay at her house for a few days while he looks for a job or whatever, right? He makes up some kind of story that sounds like, sure, why not, right? Why wouldn't I help this person who's on the downswing or, having a hard time? But she's like, I just met you, so no, I don't really feel comfortable, having you stay at my place. And he's like, and then he pushes more, right? He's pushing to say, well, my friend is, has family coming in, and I can't stay at their house, so I really am up the creek here. I have no other place I can go. I really need a place to go. Won't you help me out? And she's like, something's telling her, no, I just met this guy. I can't have him living or staying with me, right? And she's a single woman. She doesn't have a husband there or a brother or, I don't know, right? Other housemates. She says to him again, no, I just don't feel comfortable because we just met. Maybe if we were friends longer, then it would be different. Boom. When you tell a narcissist no, what happens? I think most of you know. On a dime, he turns and starts cursing at her. Well, F you, B, and I knew you were a total B, and blah, blah, blah. And, he's just yelling, cursing at her. You're such a selfish, blah, blah, blah. You think you're so great that you have a job and a place. Well, I don't need you. That's what happens. That's what narcissists do. And a lot of times, your friends and your family don't see that side of them. They only see the side where they're buttering you and your family and friends up, right? They only see the side where they're just so charming and complimenting and so pleasant and so helpful. And, oh, let me carry that for you. Let me help you with that. They don't see the side where when you tell them no, they explode. And that's what we see, though. And people who've never dealt with a narcissist, never dealt with a person like that, so selfish, so self-centered, that all the words they say that are positive and good have no meaning, like none. Like, we don't even understand that because we are not like that. We don't give people, butter people up so that we can use them, so that we can manipulate them and see how much we can take from them. That doesn't enter our mind at all. And it doesn't enter the mind of your family or your friends. So they're thinking, but they're such a nice person. They were so helpful when I met them. They were so funny. They were so pleasant. But they didn't get the treatment after you turn down the narcissist. So, you guys, let me look into some of your comments here. I just wanted to give you guys that example before we moved on. Sorry, I'm just trying to find where I last left off. Oh, okay. Obi says, last narc I had was trying to be so nice and asked me why I don't trust her. I said, because I'm not stupid. Yeah. I remember you said that a few times. It's true, because you're like, good Lord, why would you trust someone you just met, for crying out loud? And it's so funny because they think that they're going, another Obi, by the way, another reason she asks you why don't you trust her is because she's hoping you're going to then become vulnerable with her and tell her about some past trauma of how your trust got broken and now you can't trust anybody, and she's working her way in to try to manipulate. So be careful of that. I'm sure you already know. Dana says, I have been struggling with wanting to contact his daughter and apologizing. I asked myself, apologize for what? That I, wait a minute, that I made a mistake loving someone who didn't know it? Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. We feel like we're responsible for the destruction of the relationship. We're responsible for the ending of the relationship, when really you may have played part into it, because none of us is perfect. Okay, none of us is perfect. Um, so that's why you need to work on you, right? We all know this. That's why we want to make ourselves better, stronger, physically, mentally, emotionally, um, spiritually. But we also need to know that it wasn't all us. It wasn't only us, right? It was them as well. They did a work on you. So, yeah. But weird thing is, we are more likely to take responsibility, while the narcissist feels entitled. So they don't take responsibility. They just don't. They don't see how what they did was wrong, because what they did was a reaction to what you did, right? They can't see that a reaction is actually also a responsibility. It's their responsibility what reaction they have. But they think that, oh, because you did this, it's okay for me to do that, right? In response. It's like, no, you're still responsible for your behavior. All right, you guys. Get Busy Living says, I'm no contact with my narcissist family, have no friends now except for Jesus and my cat. Yeah, life sure ain't easy. If I never meet a narc again, that will be too soon. Yeah. Well, Get Busy Living, let me ask you this. And I really love your handle because it's called Get Busy Living. And I think that that really is more your core. Your core really is to continue to live and have a really great life. So I know that in your future, you're going to have that. You're going to have that because you're already speaking it into your life, right? Through creating this handle and using that. But definitely no contact with your narcissist family. And you know what? It's really hard to add friends into your circle when you're not quite grounded, or I don't want to say grounded, you're not quite healed enough to discern who is safe and who is not safe. So, you know, there is a book that I recommended called Safe People. So I would recommend that again. I believe it's written by the Boundaries guys, you know, the guys who wrote the Boundaries books. But if you go onto my website, escapefromcrazytown.com, go into the shop menu. It's not like I have merchandise or anything, but and maybe I will one day actually, but right now all I have are books that I have read, that have helped me, that are very educational, or they were uplifting books I would recommend. So that's why, you know, if you go to the shop menu on my website, look for the books. The Safe, I think it's called Safe People, and then another one called, ooh, oh, oh my gosh, there was one called Psychopath Free, and that was not written by any psychologist. It was written by a man who, and I forget his name, but who had gone through a really horrible experience. And at the time he wrote it, I don't think people much knew much about narcissistic personality disorder. But essentially what he described is what we all went through, which is, how can someone be this cruel, right? How can they be this detached? And that's a narcissist. And I think I remember at the end of his book, or one of the later chapters, he talks about having friends and adding friends back into your life, and how even then you have to be very careful with people who are too anxious and eager to be your friend, because those people have something going on. Okay, those people are generally kind of manipulative, and they have some kind of narcissistic disorder, or I don't know, I forget how he had put it. But when he said that, I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. We do have to be careful with people who are just too eager to step into our, our life and help us. Like, okay, even with that, be cautious. I mean, it's nice that they want to help, they want to be there and all that. But a lot of times, what I have found is that they are very unhealthy themselves. They're kind of codependent, and they need to be in interaction, and they need to be needed. So they find someone who's wounded, and they need you to need them. And then you're going to invite a whole bunch of drama, D-R-A-M-A. You're going to invite a lot of drama into your life with them. So right now you don't need the drama because you're coming out of it and you are now traumatized, and you need stable, strong people around you who are not going to bring more drama into your life. So, it's good to pull away for a while and have no friends for a while and look to Jesus. Hey, by the way, get busy living. When you said, except for Jesus and your cat being your friends right now, I love getting into Proverbs. Oh my gosh. I mean, it is packed full, and you can't read oh my gosh, you can't read 2 or 3 chapters of it because it's just way too much wisdom. But, and for me, I read through a whole chapter, or I don't know whether they call it, right, of Proverbs. But then I have to go back and like just hang out with 1 or 2 Proverbs for that day. And it's so uplifting. It's like it opens your eyes. You guys, Proverbs are amazing. If you don't know what that is, Google it. Go on into Google and type in Proverbs from the Bible, and they will lead you to some. It's just the wisdom in there, shocking, life-changing. Yeah. So Jihad says, Obi-Wan, I have the high... Wait, where am I missing something? Oh, no. Okay, Jihad says, I have the high ground. Get busy living. Thank you for this stream and your kind healing words. Ah, you're welcome. You're so welcome. Obi says, me and Jihad are OGs to this sick game. Oh, what's OG? Like old guys? I don't know. What does OG mean to this sick game these clowns play? Oh, okay. Letty A says, thank you. You are very helpful. This is a lonely path for me. It is. It is very, and that's why it doesn't have to be lonely, Letty A, because that you can't talk about the relationship with the ones you love in your life because they just haven't seen it. They can't understand it. It's not logical to them that someone can be that cruel or that manipulating, right? It's just like their world has never been interrupted like this, so they can't understand it. They can't see it. It's almost like taking a red pill. Have you read that, right, with the Matrix, the blue pill and the red pill? They're still blue pilled, and you're now red pilled. Although it's very ugly and it's very distressful, you see people now the way they really are, and you're now aware of their ability to be this awful. But it doesn't have to be lonely. The reason for that is because you can still have a relationship with your friends and your family. Just don't bring that relationship into it. Don't bring that discussion into it. And it's your relationship with your friends and family, doing other things, involved in other things, talking about other things, laughing about other things, that's going to help pull you out of your depression, right? Out of your painful time right now. Although I know I've been there, your mind may not be engaged or be present when you're with them. Your mind may not be present, but your body is present, okay? And you don't have to do a lot of that, by the way, but do some just so that you're not staying stuck. If you're feeling stuck and you're feeling like you cannot get out of this negative thinking, you have to get your body moving, and get your body moving around other people who could possibly call you into being present. Okay, you'll be grateful for it. By the way, you will. It'll feel comfortable at first, but you'll start getting used to being around other people. Yeah. Obi-Wan says, Letty A, we were all where you were at one time. We were all where you are at one time. Stay hopeful and look forward to every new day. And you'll look back at this BS and laugh. You actually allowed this. LOL. Yeah. Thank you, Obi, for saying that. This is why I love having you guys come on. You know, you have experience. You can speak into other people's lives right now. Speak life into them and hope into them. That is so good. I hope that you guys feel as good as I do about this. You know, I mean, just know you guys are doing a very, very good work. How encouraging that is. It's encouraging to me that you do that. Obi says, my narc would get so mad. My positivity made everyone around me wait. Oh, your positivity made everyone around you comfortable? That's nice. Oh, the narc would get mad at you because of that. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm getting it. Let me read that again. My narc would get so mad that my positivity made everyone around me comfortable. Yeah. Because the narc wants to turn people against you. And when you're positive and you're, yeah, and you make other people feel comfortable, yeah, the narc doesn't like that. Oh, yeah. I don't know why this got blocked. Oh, you know what? Let me do this. I don't know why, but oh shoot. Hello. Sometimes YouTube just blocks comments for no reason. So I'm gonna, and then they didn't show me all the comments because they only have it on top comments, and I forgot to change that. Get Busy Living says narcissists are their own worst enemy. For some reason, YouTube blocked that for review. I'm like, what? Sometimes I don't see those, by the way, so sorry if I didn't see something that you wrote and was blocked by YouTube. Rissa Risk, good to see you, says, hey guys, the narc married after 3 months, and his friends are boasting she has more financial stability than me. I feel so hurt. Has he changed? Wow, they're boasting? I don't know that they're boasting. Yeah, be careful of that, Rissa Risk. Please don't take on any criticism that maybe, well, you know, don't take on any criticism. You know, don't even look at it like, instead of boasting, they're just happy for him that she has more financial stability. Okay, so they're happy for him. Great, whatever. They're his friends. That's about it. You know, let them go. No, he has not changed. If he was a narcissist, if he was a jerk to you, if he cheated on you, if he lied to you, if he had an anger streak, if he put you down, if he was abusive towards you, he's going to do the same thing to her. The only thing is his friends are happy that now he has somebody else who, in their opinion, is slightly better. Slightly better for what? Slightly better for him to use and abuse and then leave. You know, that's sick. You know, of course they want the best for him if they are real and decent people. So they're hoping that maybe she can change him. Maybe that's it. But no, she cannot change him. If he's a narcissist, she will not be changing him. He will be using her regardless of how stable or how good or how smart or how, you know, established she is. Yeah. So don't compare yourself and don't take on criticism. It doesn't belong to you. Whatever they think, that's theirs. Whatever, you know. Obi-Wan says, my narc thought I was going to marry her after 3 months. LOL. Wow. Why do they move so fast? I don't even understand. Obi-Wan says, I mean, I do. I've done videos on that. Where I did a video, actually, that's really popular. It's called Why the Narcissist Marries Immediately. Marries the New Supply Immediately. Or something like that. I'm going to put it in a link. YouTube's still kind of sad. But they take about a day before they upload this video entirely, and you know, yeah, you'll be able to access the video, but I won't be able to edit the video until they've uploaded it. And then I can add that little eye icon on the right side, and we'll include that video, Why the Narcissist Marries the New Supply Immediately, or Why the Narcissist Immediately Marries the New Supply, something like that. Okay. Yeah, Obi says, let them live their little warped fantasy world. Let them get married. She'll be miserable for a long time. Yeah. He's responding to Riss. It's true. They are. Yeah. Get Busy Living says, read Psychopath Free. Yes, there it is. Thank you. By Jackson Mackenzie. That's who it is. Yeah. Very good book. Yep. That's the one I was talking about, where at the end of it, or one of the later chapters, might have been the last chapter, where he talks about, then you're trying to, get your life back in order, start making friends again, and you're going to self-help groups to try to recover, and be careful of that person who's too eager to be in your life. And a lot of times, and I don't remember what he talks about that. I think he does say something about you may find yourself in another narcissistic or psychopath relationship. I think that what happens with those people is they're very codependent, and they need somebody, and they're very wounded in a way where they cannot be alone. So if they see you wounded, and nobody else, who's stronger is going to want them, so they're going to attach to you. If you're the new person coming in and you're freshly wounded, because you won't be able to discern right away that this person has a lot of drama, right? Is very dramatic and is very wounded themselves, and will start to manipulate you and guilt you and shame you, and things that traumatized and codependent people might do. Obi-Wan says, oh, hold on. Obi-Wan says, finding all my empath friends that have been woken to this disorder, we all have a circle slaying these monsters. Oh, slaying these monsters? But yeah, you know what I mean? It's just incredible. Once you once you realize, oh my gosh, this is great. I have a friend who was talking to me about this, I guess a couple of weeks ago, where we were able to commiserate, really, share our experiences with people who've tried to manipulate us. And we're like, no, thank you. And we were able to laugh about it. It's like, heck no. You want to pull me into your drama? No, thank you. And we've both had experiences with people who are just so much drama. And they cannot handle their own emotional, I don't know, growth, I guess. I don't know what it is. They, and that's not to put them down. It's just that they're in a place where they are not emotionally healthy. So they pull you into their unhealthy emotional state. And I'm like, no, thank you. I don't mind helping, and I love to help people, but I don't like the manipulation, and nor do I tolerate the manipulation. Okay, that's where my friend and I were like, no thank you. We see the manipulation coming a mile away. We're like, nope, not going to take that on. So you got to stay strong, right? I've woken them, by the way. Oh, that's awesome, Obi. Yeah, right. When you're able to help other people, they're like, who've come out of this, they're just like, what the heck happened? I cared so much. I did so much that, as much as I could to help them. And I loved them so much. And you're able to open their eyes and say, wow, I went through the same thing, and here's what I learned. And, oh my gosh, then their eyes are opened. It's quite exciting and fulfilling. Yep. Obi says, invite drama and trauma. Yep. Dana says, Proverbs, heart. Yeah, I love Proverbs. Obi-Wan says, I read the Bible from beginning to end looking for an answer to this, and it almost turned me into an atheist. Yeah. The problem with doing, reading the Bible from beginning to end is not great, because there's so many things that you need a lot more background to fully understand. Otherwise, if you take it just as it is, it could be very misleading, I guess, or misinterpreted. Maybe misinterpreted. So yeah, I'm glad it didn't make you an atheist. Get Busy Living says, wow, I just finished Proverbs today. Aw, and I got strawberries and custard at the supermarket before I got home and started watching your stream today. You have been sent by God to make me feel happy. Aw, I'm so glad. So glad. Get Busy Living. You need to be born again and receive the Holy Spirit to truly understand the Bible. Jesus loves you. Please say the salvation prayer with all your heart and believe. Yeah. There is something in there that says to those who do not believe that God's words are foolishness. So if you're reading the Bible but you don't understand it, and you're a critic, and you pretty much hate Christians, let's say, which, hey, by the way, if you're on here and you hate Christians, I get it. There were times when I felt the same way, as a Christian, by the way. So, it's people who are messed up, and they're not perfect. I'm not excusing what they did or anything like that, but I have since found my way and my own understanding. And I messed up, by the way. I've probably made people think that Christians are terrible people, because they misunderstood me or took me wrong, or, oh my gosh, just a lot of drama. I don't even want to go into that. But here's the deal. That's not God. That's just people. People are nuts. That's all listen, people are nuts. You and I, we're nuts too at times, okay? We're not perfect. And I'm going to say that right now. If you're, and I don't think any of you guys are doing this, walking around thinking like, oh, it's everybody else, but we're perfect. No, that's baloney. You know it, I know it. Anyway, the point is, there are scriptures that say that to those who don't believe, right, that the scriptures do come off as foolishness to them. And it does. People mock the Bible all the time. And sadly, I look at that and I'm like, it's because they don't believe. And I'm not saying like blindly believe. It's that, okay, let me give you an example. When somebody has an argument or a point of view and you just don't understand their point of view, it just seems like foolishness. Until maybe one day, okay, let's take it like this. Those who don't believe us, those who can't believe that a narcissist can be so cruel, can be this manipulative, can be this intentional at hurting someone or using someone, to them, everything we're saying to them is foolishness, right? Everything we're telling them about a narcissist, they just don't believe. They're like, no, people cannot and are not that way. So then they're thinking, they might start to go, well, maybe you're foolish because, man, you are really off your rocker. You've really gone off the cliff here, because we might get obsessed about it. Like, no, you have to see, you have to understand. And we give them all these stories and evidence, and they're like, man, okay, you're just looking more and more desperate now to them. So to them, everything you say about narcissists sounds like foolishness. But to those who have seen it, who believe it, right? Those of you who are here, when you have seen it and your eyes have been opened, you're like, holy cow, what these people say to me about narcissists is so true. It's not foolishness, right? You may even look back in your life and think about a few people, or maybe one person, who had tried to explain to you about narcissists and you didn't believe them. And now you're like, wow, I thought that person was kind of wackadoo, but now you're like, oh, they were just trying to tell me and warn me about my narcissist, and I didn't believe it, right? Anyway, that's what it's kind of like. Get Busy Living says, my covert narc mother burned people of, I don't get this, of the lie book. Narcissists hate the truth. Interesting. I'm not quite sure what that means. Burned. Oh, wait. It's a book called People of the Lie Book. Okay. I don't know what that is. Measure Twice. Good to see you. Well, you guys, we are at the end of our hour and a half. So it used to be an hour, happy crappy hour, but I've extended it to an hour and a half. But I really don't want to go beyond that. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to wrap up your conversations, and I'll read a few more comments. If you guys can watch a commercial each time, like just one, okay? And if they're those super crazy long ones, watch at least 30 seconds or 1 minute of it. I think I get something for that, but if you click right through the commercials where it says you can skip them, I get nothing. So just wanted to ask if you would do me that favor. Hopefully, it won't cost you anything, but it sure would help me out. Get Busy Living says, oh, hello, Measure. Measure Twice. Oh, let me see. hold on. Let me go up. This is so awesome. This is so true, right? Get busy living. I felt the same way for a while. I only want to be friends with people who are awake to narcissistic abuse. Hope I find my tribe soon. Positive things happen to positive thinkers. By the way, I have friends who are not aware at all of narcissistic abuse. We don't talk about narcissistic abuse, but the interesting thing is occasionally it will come up, right? Occasionally they will talk about some crazy person in their life, and I'm able to speak a little bit into it. I don't go all full out, okay, you guys? Um, and they're aware that I do this channel. They just, I don't know, to them, they still are so unaware of narcissistic abuse that they don't think they need this channel. So I'm like, okay, no big deal. You know, and it's not like they go to any other channel either. It's just they don't know about narcissistic abuse. And the interesting thing too is some of them are, they have caused narcissistic abuse. I don't know that they are narcissists, but I see them transforming. I see them changing, but I know that they are still dealing with demons, if you will, right, on the inside, which narcissists do not. They want to change, so that's good. As we know, I said before, narcissists don't want to change, and that's the difference. Measure Twice says, good news, the tribe is getting bigger every day. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Just reading some of the comments, you guys. David Curtis. David Curtis. Good to see you. Yeah. Says, is this about narcissists? Yes. We've been talking, you know, and this applies to toxic people or abusive people or people in your life who are unsafe. It also applies to like the tools I give you to heal and to move forward and to handle this process of coming out of a bad relationship. It applies to those too. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you guys, I am going to... Oh, yeah, you got to be careful of that. BB Scott, I agree with that. Says that, you know, no place is safe, by the way, from narcissists. So if you think, oh, I'll go to church, and they're all nice people there, guess what? Broken people come to church looking for healing, all right? And not only that, psychopaths also go to church because they know they'll meet a lot of nice people who are very trusting and who are told they have to trust or they have to be nice and they have to forgive and they have to open up their homes, and, you know, so it's a good hunting ground for psychopaths. And I agree with you about that. Yeah, yeah. But there are also a lot of psychopaths acting as all other religions, by the way. So there's no religion that's safe from having these crazy people. Yeah. Well, you guys, we are at the end of our hour and a half. And I want to say that you guys are really awesome. And here's the thing. I want to end with good news. The good news, by the way, is now you have learned that narcissists are not dealing with demons. This is just how they are. You cannot pour endlessly. I mean, you will have to pour endlessly, which you cannot do, right? They are unfillable. And it is not your fault that you couldn't cure them. You made an effort. You tried to help. It didn't work. That's okay. The good news is now you are free. You are free of it. And it's hard to tell that this is good when you are just newly free because you're still in pain and your heart is hurting. The good news is that you're not going to continue to stay in pain, and you're not going to continue to be under their control. You are now away from that, and you have a choice for your life. You have the ability to make good choices for you now, where before the narcissist was making choices for you. That's the good news. You don't have to be under that anymore. You are now free. So get busy living. I love that term. So that's what I'm saying to you guys. Get busy living. Love the life that you're in. Build a life that you are going to love. Love the people who are in your life well. And for me, I love my dogs too. Oh my gosh, they bring me so much joy, and we do so many snuggle times. Do the things that bring you joy, bring you laughter. And by the way, I'm going to put in my comments after this, after we end here, the link to the comedy, the comedian that I watched last night. So I hope you guys get a really good laugh and take the moment, get that moment. That's what laughter does for me. Gives me that moment to breathe. Finally, just breathe. So blessings to you guys. Have a great week, and I will see you next week.